Hi guys, Rino Rachita here, founder of Amula AI, a AI implementation agency making over 6 figures a year. Today I want to show you how we find 10 to 20 AI opportunities in almost every business out there. Most businesses think AI opportunities are hard to find. In reality, once you know what to look for, they are everywhere. In almost every AI audit we run, we identify between 10 and 20 potential AI opportunities inside a business. But here's the important part. We don't look for tools, we look for friction. Today I'll show you exactly how we do it. Every business runs some processes. Information moves between people, tools, and decisions. And wherever information moves, three things usually happen. People copy information, people reformat information, people search for information. These are signals that our process may be improved with AI or automations. So most companies don't see them because they are used to workflows, but once you step back, analyze them, the system, opportunities become obvious. First step in every audit or with every client that we have, we do the workflow mapping. So it's pretty straightforward. We don't really go through it too much. To be honest, we look at the departments, check out their workflows, how does work really happen. And for example, this can be something like lead comes in, sales qualification, internal review, proposal creation, client onboarding, delivery process. So this can look like something like this too, where company A has a sales, marketing, and operations department, and sales has outreach, sales calls, and closing. And from the closing, it goes on to the onboarding. As well as marketing. From marketing, they go to the sales calls and closing again. So it's pretty straightforward. Once the workflows are visualized though, we look for friction points. So typical signals include manual reporting, copy-paste work, repeated emails, data re-entry, documentation creation. So these are the details in these workflows. And when you have these details, you can pretty much go to the second step, and this is the bottleneck analysis. So it's pretty straightforward again. So the second step is identifying bottlenecks. Every business has them. So every business has any bottleneck. My business has, every other business has any bottlenecks. So first is the decision layer. So when information must travel through multiple people before a decision is made. So if anything here happens, there has to be made a decision there. And this can be already automated, or people have to go through it. Meaning if you send, an offer, this offer has to be written by a sales manager or whatever. Then information duplication. So when information must travel through multiple people before a decision is made. So like the same data is entered into multiple systems. After it's like gone through the multiple people, it has to be entered in multiple systems. And the last one is manual knowledge work. So things like report generation, candidate research, lead enrichment, and so on and so forth can be things that are absolutely manual and have to be done double or manually inputted. So everything this is analyzing the bottlenecks and getting out the things out of these. And the third step, which is the opportunity identification, is really the identifying the opportunities. And this is where we get very quickly reach 10 to 20 possible AI opportunities. But we don't implement all of them. So, and here comes this is the twist. So we don't really implement anything outside of 2 to 3 or 4 opportunities that we find, because most of the things that we find are pretty generic and general, and we want to be more specific, and we have to really calculate what makes the most sense for a business. Meaning, if something can be done manually and it takes up to 2 hours or whatever, and the automation wouldn't really be that efficient, more efficient than that, because it has to be looked at from a human, and you can't really change the process too much there because of compliance or whatever. You really have to cut that possibility out. So even though you find 10 to 20 possibilities on implementing AI, you can at most, you have to focus on 2 to 3 that are really groundbreaking. So the real value is not identifying opportunities, because everybody can do this, to be honest, but the real value is prioritization. So you want to prioritize what really makes sense for the business. Just because something can be automated doesn't mean it should be, like as I said before. And we evaluate this on a certain thing. So we do impact. So if we go in and write this in, impact, let's do a copy here. Impact, risk, data readiness, and implementation complexity. So every time there is an impact, meaning you can save up to 15 hours of work a week or a month, this is the real impact. This can change the whole work of something, or the whole work of a department. If there is low risk, so you don't want to risk compliance, you don't want to risk data duplication, whatever. If the data is ready, so if there is any data readiness there, so if they are already logging things, if they are already doing things in a way where data is always somewhere, like it's not just in the heads of people, but they always have to log things, they always have to document things. And the third step is the fourth thing is implementation complexity. So you don't want to really be building software all the time. If you see that you have a possibility to implement AI and you want to prioritize it, or implement automation and prioritize it, you don't have to always build software or build like some kind of tool or whatever. It can be like an automation that you do with make.com or n@n, and which is not too complicated, but it still has an impact, doesn't really risk anything, and that you can really use the data they already have. Like you don't have to really go out there and input data again, and so on and so forth. So all of this combined, if you check this out completely again, you always have first the signals. So people always copy things, reformat things, search for information. So these are like signs that a company really has to automate or implement AI. And then our workflow is pretty straightforward. Workflow mapping, bottleneck analysis, opportunity identification, and then the last step is, as I said, prioritizing. So you really want to prioritize what's going on with for the business. And this is everything that we do in the audit, and in this type of matter. So nothing really changes too much every time we do it. It's just based on the business. So if you have a 30 employees business, it's going to look a little different. Maybe it's going to look a little more detailed, but it's always nearly the same. And this is like a general overview of this whole thing. So to close everything out, AI opportunities are not rare. Like they exist in every company. As I said, in my company as well, and every other company. And the challenge is not really finding them, because you can really just talk to Claude or talk to ChatGPT, whatever, give them everything, and they will give you something back, which will make sense. But the real challenge is identifying which one actually matter, which one have the real impact, which one can reduce maybe risk, make your data cleaner, and so on and so forth. So, and this is where this structured analysis is important. So with an AI audit, the way we do it is we really find these prioritizing things in the business to implement it. And without this, companies chase tools like as you see, most of the companies doing AI agents. We have an AI agent for this, we have an AI agent for that, whatever. And you just go after these and run and try to get something in. But with this, companies build system like infrastructure. And most of the time in my LinkedIn posts and everything else, I really talk about the infrastructure. So people, when computers came out with cloud computing or whatever, the issue wasn't really implementing cloud, because there were a lot of solutions out there. The issue was building the infrastructure. You want to be having low risk infrastructure, infrastructure that is compliant, and that makes it more efficient, that you can automate, that you can, use in a day-to-day business, daily business, and it makes sense for the business, it really brings that impact. So yeah, all in all, this is everything I want to talk about today. I have linked the blueprint for this in the description below. Check it out. Check out my other LinkedIn, my other social media accounts. Check me out on LinkedIn. I post a lot there, especially when it comes to the audits and AI implementation itself. And yeah, thank you very much for listening. All the best, and we see us next time.